Welcome to WACSUN Weekly. WACSUN Weekly is the official Western Athletic and ASUN Conference podcast of FCS Fans Nation. WACSUN Weekly is hosted by Dustin Helton, Brandon Owens, and Will Seiler.
Welcome back to another episode of WACSUN Weekly. Welcome back, FCS Fans Nation, to another episode of WACSUN Weekly. And there is a new member of the podcast team this week, and it is not a human. It is the bear. The bear from SFA, not the UCA bear, but the SFA bear. I can only imagine what you're actually doing with your fingers in there.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm very good. Thanks for asking. Brandon, how are you?
God.
Wow.
I hated you for wearing the costume, and now I hate you for making a pun about the costume.
Happy Halloween.
It is. This will come out on Halloween. So
Yeah,
happy Halloween to all you people. Brandon, how are you doing?
Good. Tired. I spent all day yesterday watching bands
Nice.
at JSU.
Nice. You because there was nobody. I noticed you were there early, and I was like, man, they're not playing a home game. I was like, what's he doing?
Well, those pictures that I posted were the band directors because call time was at like 5 o'clock in the morning because first band stepped off at 8:30.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. I got to see my alma mater. They had a fantastic run, but sadly did not make finals. They barely missed finals, and this was a 0.15 points.
Barely.
Very very funny.
Yeah.
God, terrible.
Rev, I saw your daughter ran a 1K this week.
Yeah, it was great. Instead of sleeping in on Saturday, I got up at 5:15 to make sure she went running. But no, she had fun, and next year she and I are going to do the 5K together, which will be great. Looking forward to getting up early to go running. But no, it was really awesome. It's really cool. You go run across the Galveston Causeway, so you go run up a bridge over the bay and then back. And yeah, it was a good time. Also, I think this is probably the best that my face has ever looked on this podcast right now. So.
Come on, don't sell yourself short.
I'm saving the jokester. I'm already getting ahead of all the jokesters tomorrow. We'll put it that way.
Okay. Is that your official Halloween costume for tomorrow?
No, because I'll be working in Vegas, and I didn't have enough room to pack with everything else I had to take. But no, this is actually here in Galveston we do Mardi Gras, and one of the parades we do is the Children's Parade. So this is the thing I wear in Children's Parade. And we also have the Special People's Ball. And so I'll wear this to the Special People's Ball and go volunteer in it. So it's fun. So I just randomly had it. And so it was either this or Sasquatch. But since one of our mascots happens to be a bear, and hey, our game of the week might involve the Bears.
Nope.
We could go Corso with this. You never know.
I could just not read off the game of the week.
It's okay. I already have it. It's all right. I already have it covered.
It was a pretty good week around the conference. Some good scores. Had a couple blowouts, but for the most part, the games were pretty good. Kennesaw State had what I think Charleston Southern considered. Pulled it off. Man. Anyway, Kennesaw knocked off Charleston Southern. I think Chuck South does consider that a little bit of a rivalry game. Not sure if Kennesaw does, but either way, they pulled out. Jacksonville State ran away from Austin Peay in the second half.
Hey, I was about to say, you better say second half.
Yeah, it was really a tale of two halves. UCA poured it on North Alabama on the stripes. Eastern Kentucky in the win of the week for sure. Everybody got it wrong.
Finally picked up a ranked win.
Yeah, no need for us to update the game of the week standings because we all missed it. Eastern Kentucky got it done. They scored 28 in the second half to win that game. We'll talk about it in a minute. Utah Tech, that might be the win of the week. going to NAC and knocking off SFA 47-44. And man, that last second play was
dumb,
poor.
dumb.
Not only was it a bad call, it was not even run well.
No.
Anyway, North Dakota, man, they almost got beat by Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian almost went up there and did it. That was a good one. And then Sam Houston finally looked decent and beat Tarleton 40-21. I think that's like
a crowd of 20,000 plus.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Good for them.
I mean, chances are it won't be their next home game. So,
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But, man, let's start with Eastern Kentucky and SEMO because I think that one has the most, I think it was the most meaningful win as far as the team that won. So, SEMO up 13-0 at halftime. Comes out, Eastern Kentucky comes out and lit the scoreboard up in the second half. And I think Parker McKinney ended up with like 400 passing yards, 398, something like that. So he really turned it on in the second half. And SEMO really couldn't do much in the second half. In the first half, I really thought they should have been up by more than 13. And I think that's what they're probably saying in their facilities this week is, man, that game shouldn't have been close in the second half because we should have been up by about 30. But what did you guys think about that one?
Yeah, what's crazy about that is, Parker McKinney threw for 398, only one touchdown, had two more on the ground though, right? So just nice short runs for touchdowns. But he did a great job spreading the ball around. I don't know if you saw this, but there were 8 different receivers who had a catch. Nobody broke 100 yards. Sloan was close as 97, but man, they spread the field. They spread the ball around. Did a great job. Great win. It's almost a statement win, I think, at this point, because I think some folks have been doubting EKU recently. You know, they had their big win against Bowling Green, and then you see they kind of had some couple of losses that you just kind of scratch your head at. And I think this is them coming back saying, hey, when you're looking at the AQ, whatever we are, AQ 9 or 10, like don't discount us for that AQ because we're not out of it yet. And I think they showed that with this game. Great win over SEMO.
No doubt. Very one-dimensional. SEMO really shut the running game down, which they did that against UCA. I think we only rushed for like 40 that game. So to be able to pick up a win on the road and only run the ball for 60 yards is honestly impressive. And defense really had to stiffen up in the second half. So props to those guys. That's, like you said, a statement win because you're right. A lot of people doubted them, especially after they lost Austin Peay.
Yeah.
And
they kept Hess under 100 yards also.
Which is hard to do.
Very hard to do, which is very impressive that they're able to do that.
Yeah, what killed SEMO was those 3 turnovers.
Yep.
You won't be able to win turning the ball over that much.
Yeah, especially not forcing any. So moving on, let's talk about Abilene Christian because, man, I didn't expect that. I really thought going up to the Alaris Center, they would kind of get humbled a little bit, but I don't know that they did. I think, honestly, coming that close probably just fires you up a little bit more.
I think I was the only one that called this game being this close.
You sure were.
Did. But, Rev, you said during the game, if they pull it off, screw it, you'll rank them.
I still might. I still might, to be honest with you. Like, that's not a bad loss. I mean, I think what killed them was McElroy throwing the 2 picks. Honestly, like Brandon just said, you turn over the ball, you're not going to win a game. I mean, I feel like Abilene Christian each week has just slowly gotten better and better. And who knows, they honestly might make the playoffs for the first time this year. I mean, they're
sitting pretty for a AQ.
Yeah, they're sitting pretty. Their schedule favors them. And that game between SFA and ACU on the 19th, that may be more one-sided ACU win than people may have previously thought and weeks beforehand. I mean, just they've done a great job winning. They've been steady. And, I thought, this would be a Missouri Valley Conference team doing what they normally do to every other conference and just scrubbing the field with them. And maybe the Missouri Valley Conference isn't as strong this year without you get rid of North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Maybe the rest of the teams are, Midland when it comes to, everything else. But nice, I don't want to say nice loss, but Abilene Christian, your fans, and you guys played a hell of a game. Legit hell of a game. Very impressive, even though you lost.
Yeah, I got 3 things. You're not going to be able to win the game when you are being outrushed by 100 or outgained by 100 yards. You're not going to win turning the ball over at all. But also, this is what killed JSU in the past. They had 10 penalties for 93 yards. You're not. That's another factor into a game that's this close being basically one-sided. So that I feel like this game was not as close as what the score gives off. So
that
be moving forward.
If you just look at the statistics, I wouldn't say they got blown out, but I would say, man, they probably lost that by 12, 15 points. But maybe not a 3-point game. But so I did agree with you. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you did. Did y'all see at the end of that one? Did you see when North Dakota was taking a knee? They were trying to knee it out, and Abilene Christian was just like balls to the wall, running through the offensive line, trying to force a fumble or something. And I mean, they body slammed a quarterback after he took the knee, and I was like, dude, there's about to be a fight because Abilene, I don't know, it was a little bush league, but I mean, I get it, fight to the end, but hey. Abilene, maybe it was just a change in leadership that was needed because I know they have the pieces in place and they have the resources for sure. But maybe we're seeing a resurgence of ACU football.
Well,
they've had success.
Patterson's a great coach. He's a great OC, and getting him there, he's already in his first year showing difference. I find it funny though, if you think about North Dakota and that, and then think about what happened with their game against South Dakota State last week and them spitting in Tucker Kraft's mouth. Maybe there's a little bit of payback.
Maybe they deserve that one. All right, let's see. Utah Tech.
We can
SFA.
skip this one. We can skip this one.
Yeah, this one was rough. Into the game. First of all, beautiful 45-second offense, 2-minute drill, whatever you want to call it. The drive was pretty. That last play before the review. Who was the guy running the ball? I didn't know his name.
It was Reed, I think.
Yes, that's who it was.
Reed. Yeah, that's for that play because
Miles Reed
was in a boot.
Had the opportunity to run out of bounds, and I think that would have been the best thing for him because if you're not down there on the 1, you don't go for it.
Exactly.
And so I think if he runs out of bounds with 3 seconds left, Colby Carthel sends Chris Campos, your All-American kicker, out there. And let's be honest, you're the better team, and you probably win in overtime.
Here's the problem. I think I put this in our group chat, but I'm going to say it anyway. SFA Lumberjacks. There's no letter D. There's no D there. Just like SFA this year. There's no D. This is insane. Utah Tech just matched up perfectly against our sieve of a defense that we had. But here's what infuriates me about that. I'm not mad that Carthel went for the win. I actually kind of appreciate that he went for the win because, no guts, no glory. But the problem is, what the hell kind of play call was that at the very end of the game? You have Reed, who's averaging 5 yards per carry. You're on the 1. I know that a lot of folks don't want to go under center and try to do it, but you know what? You're bigger than Utah Tech's line. Go under center. Either have Self, who's tall enough to have him lean in, or give it to Reed and let Reed get it in. Don't do this to fake the handoff and throw to a line down lineman. That was just the most asinine play, and you deserve to lose for that. You really do. Make smarter play calls. I love Colby Carthel. I truly love Colby Carthel, but sometimes I am like, what are you thinking on your play calls? And I feel like he's shooting himself in the foot for some of the things that he's doing this year, because some of the play calls he's making this year, it's causing regression versus progression with the SFA program, and that's not a good thing. And so now with this loss, what have you done? You almost have taken yourself out of playoff talk because there's no way you're going to get an at-large bid. Not not that way. So you would be with 7 wins, 6 of them D1. You're not going to get in. You're not a Missouri Valley Football Conference team. It's just that's not going to happen. So you have to hope for all hell to break loose for AQ. You're going to have to beat Abilene Christian. You're going to have to beat UCA. You're going to have to hope for some shakeups on the other side. Like that one play call basically cost you the postseason. That's what the result of that is. And that's, as a fan, that's absolutely frustrating. Self had a great game, but the other thing too, and one other thought, where would we be without Xavier Gibson?
Yeah.
I know against Alcorn State, he didn't touch the ball and they got a win, but like legit, where would SFA be without Xavier Gibson? Our go-to play third down, let's throw the ball to Gibson and let him use his speed, and that's what happens. But like SFA would be a much worse team without Xavier Gibson. Wembley's a great running back, but hearing that he's in a boot in the fourth quarter, that's really concerning as we get to the rest of the year, although Miles Reed can move the ball as well. But, hats off to the Blazers. I've been calling that you get your first D1 win over the past couple of weeks. I sure didn't think it would come against SFA, but like as mad as I am about the way that game ended, I can't be mad at Utah Tech for getting their first one. I mean, they played 2 seasons of the most hellacious schedule, and that's going to pay off dividends as they continue forward. And I would not be surprised to see them in a playoff hunt in 2 or 3 years because of the development that they're getting. So hats off to them. But man, there's nothing else to say. Just man.
So how undisciplined did Stephen F. Austin play, Rev?
I don't want to talk about it.
11 penalties for over 100 yards. That's like past JSU stats there.
Apparently we hired John Gross, but I don't want to talk about it.
I want to say this about the play call. Don't hate necessarily throwing the ball, but you ran a pop pass.
Exactly.
It wasn't even like your typical 2-point play that everybody runs where, you get everybody crashing down and then somebody slips out in the flat and you throw it to them and they walk in the end zone. And it was like it didn't look like anybody in the middle did their job because the tight end was open. He was open in the back of the end zone, but Trey Self was like, he had people in his face before he could get the ball out, and he looked like he kind of just flipped it. That play call was
the problem is when you throw a ball in the air, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad. Right. At that point at the 1 yard line, it's safer to either kick the field goal or use your running back who's getting 5 yards to carry. So
I agree. But
ifs
and buts were candy and nuts. What a Merry Christmas it would be.
But one other thing, and this kind of infuriates me, and this is a miniature reverend in the press conference, post-game conference, he said that it was a trap game. You have a bye next week. You have a bye. I get that you're tired. I get that you haven't had a bye since September because of playing week 0 and all that. But that's not a trap game. That's y'all not being focused on who you're playing.
Right.
You have Central Arkansas after the bye. That is a tough opponent, but don't say this is a damn trap game. It's not a damn trap game. You weren't focused, or you did something. I don't know what, but I heard that, and that's one of the first times I ever went, wow, that's one of the worst excuses I've ever heard. Period.
Yeah, that one definitely surprised me. I wasn't even keeping up with it while I was at the UCA game, and then somebody said in the crowd that SFA lost. I was like, no, they didn't. And so then I checked it, and I was like, holy cow. But anyway, that is unfortunate for Lumberjack fans and for the Rev. Let's see, Jacksonville State. Brandon, you guys, they pulled away in the second half. Austin P hung tight in the first. And then I guess Jacksonville State just decided to turn it on. I don't know.
I didn't get to watch much of the game because, like I said, I was at a band contest, and the parts of the game that I was watching, I had to have the volume down because I was not about to disturb the performances. But anyways, just looking at the stats, it looks like we've played one of the more balanced games of the entire season. 191 passing yards, 183 rushing yards. Like, it looks like that we played really balanced football instead of the past 2 weeks running the same dead-gum play over and over and over and over in different formations.
I will say this game was really, if you want to look at it, more like a 33-16 game. There was a blocked field goal that went back for a touchdown, which that still counts. Don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also one of those weird, quirky scoring opportunities. It's kind of like garage time touchdowns. Like, do they count? Really? No. So
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot harder for Austin Peay to like bounce back for a possible at-large or even AQ at this point. They had to have beaten Jacksonville State in order for them to even have a chance.
That kills their conference standings. And then you look at who they have left. Really, their only opportunities to win are Kennesaw and North Alabama because they have to play Alabama week 11.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, that's not happening.
which, if let's say they win the 2 games that are left that they can win, and they would end up 7-4.
4.
I don't know.
But
Their
7-3.
sucks.
7-3.
7-3 in FCS games.
7-2. 7-2 because they played Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So 7-2.
Maybe.
Not against Presbyterian, Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State.
Their out of conference is too weak. Their best win would be Eastern Kentucky.
And I mean, you got to think they lose to Jacksonville State, they lose to Central Arkansas, and then I don't know. That doesn't scream tough schedule.
Yeah,
But also that Eastern Kentucky game is a ranked win, so they have that on their resume.
One ranked win with their strength of schedule, which I believe in Massey is like down in the 90s, is tough for them.
Yeah.
No, it's higher than that.
Is it like
it's
better or worse?
It's in the 50s.
That's still. They're not going to. That out of conference schedule is weak. They wouldn't need to be.
Their strength of schedule is 70th.
Yeah, they would have needed to be 8-3 at least. They would have needed. They would have
to beat Alabama.
Hey, weirder stuff has happened, but I don't think
has it. That's a bold statement.
If they beat Alabama, they could lose the next week and still get into the playoffs.
That's their last game of the year.
That's what
Alabama is.
Yeah, Alabama's the last game.
I thought it was like one
game 11, week 12.
I thought they had Alabama between the 2 other FCS games.
I was the 19th, but I could be wrong.
UNA, KSU, and then Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's the SEC.
Gotcha.
It's part of the schedule for Alabama.
Maybe we should talk about more than Austin Peay beating Alabama because I don't know if that's going to happen.
Should make that our game of the week.
We should. We could get a ton of people to watch it if we tagged Alabama fans in it.
Yep.
Because it'd be really easy to make them mad.
Yep.
Looking at you, South
Let's
Coast.
Let's do it.
So we talked about Kennesaw beating Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern's not good. Kennesaw doesn't look great. Kennesaw only rushed for like 196 again. They're gonna have to switch something up after this year. I think that's my takeaway is that they're gonna have to change up the philosophy because the triple option is, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's
dying. It's
beaten and battered. So we'll see. But they did get the win, so good for them. They're back to 4-4. And in the power ranking, they, last week they moved up, so I can't imagine that they moved down after this week. I think people still have a little bit of preseason, like people that don't see the results, people that just see the record, probably have a little bit of a preseason bias and go, well, they're 500 now. Their wins suck.
Yeah. So
anyway,
when I watch Kennesaw football, my thought is Hootie, who cares? Basically, like
yes.
So they're gonna have to change something up before they hit the Conference USA though, because regardless of if
1 year to do it,
regardless of if the Conference USA is a trash FBS conference, which it's going to be, for a couple of years, it's not going to be good. It's still going to be a good conglomerate of FCS programs. I mean, and then you throw Liberty in there, who now is ranked. Kennesaw could get the brakes beat off of them this first couple of years if they don't change something up. So, because they're not in as good of a spot in football as Jacksonville State is. And even Sam Houston,
No.
I feel like Sam Houston's honestly a better position.
Don't tell their fans that though. You're gonna get so much hate from them for saying the truth.
What, from KSU fans?
Yeah, Jacob Martinez is gonna come after you.
What are you talking about? KSU fans? What are those?
You're gonna be studying and you're gonna sit here outside your apartment, and you know it's Jacob Martinez out there waiting for you.
Yeah, he's gonna jump on me when I walk out my apartment. I'm really joking.
Shout out to you, Jacob, man. You do stuff for FCS Fans Nation, man. We're just messing with you, but thanks
totally
for listening.
joking.
You know you do, but your team still is gonna suck in Conference USA for a few years.
Now, if they change something up and they get a quarterback that can run a not a spread, but the college football, you have to spread it out a little bit.
Yeah.
If they get a quarterback that can and switch up a philosophy next year, they could make some noise for sure.
I would love to see him go air raid. I think air raid would be amazing in that conference.
Just to totally switch it up from the triple option
to be honest, Kennesaw has the makings to do air raid.
Yeah, I would love to see Kennesaw air raid, dude. I would love it. Absolutely love it.
Their fans wouldn't know what to do.
Smash Mouth JSU against Air Raid KSU. Ooh, that rivalry game's gonna get intense real fast.
Get your popcorn ready. That's gonna be an epic one to watch right there.
Let's see. Sam Houston finally looked like Sam Houston, I guess, kind of. They still only won by 19 over a transitioning team. But congrats. You scored 40 points, which is almost as much as you've scored all year. So, yeah, golf clap for those guys. Not much to talk about there. Obviously, neither one's eligible for the AQ. So, not a whole lot riding on that one.
They did release renderings, so something they're going to do at Bowers with this, with that plaza and stuff. And I was like, it looks great. Too bad it's going to be empty because they have no fans.
Either that or their fans are going to move over to that. And so the stands are going to be empty and there's just going to be people drinking on the terrace.
I read somewhere where one of their fans said this is going to put them at 15,000.
That might be right. That actually might be correct. They don't.
Let's see. What does Bowers hold? I'll look.
I think it's 13. No, I think it's more than that. I think
12,000. 12,000. I think it's 12,000.
But the thing too is that one thing said, and SFA is sort of the same way that it's 14.
14.
Okay.
SFA is sort of the same way. Homer Bryce can hold 25,000 if you have people sitting on the grass. That's the problem is that you have the grass sperms. Sam Houston, probably if they would just horseshoe in around the south end of north end of the stadium.
That track.
Well, that's the thing. They said they're going to get rid of the track once the new track and field complex is built. And I'm like, with what money?
When's that going to happen?
Exactly. But I mean, you know what? I mean, they're going to slow. I shit on them because it's Sam and I'm going to, but they're slowly going to make it. They'll get there. They just need to get the right pieces in place within their administration, but they'll get there. It's going to be, they're not like JSU. It's going to be an ugly sort of transition in. So
I'll say this. I'm a firm believer that when people know who you're playing, they'll show up more. And so we saw what Sam Houston fans did when they made it to the national championship game. We saw what they looked like in Frisco. They had a lot of fans. They had more fans in Frisco, honestly, than they probably have at a normal home game.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they transition, let's say they're hosting, which I think they're playing Air Force or NRG, but I think they get to host Hawaii.
Hawaii.
They're going to get a couple games where people are going to be like, hey, we know who that is. And so maybe, some more fans will come, but still more fans. It's not hard to do when you're only pulling 5,000 at a game.
But the problem is that, do you really, more fans. I could see fans coming in for Jacksonville State, maybe, but they're not going to come in for Kennesaw State. They're not going to come in for Florida International. They might come in for Louisiana Tech. They might come in for New Mexico State, maybe, but probably not. The thing is that you're going to get some attendance there for your out of conference games. But when you get inside conference and deer hunting season starts in Huntsville, they're not going to be troubled to go to Bowers. They're going to be busy either deer hunting or wearing maroon and going 60 miles up the road to College Station.
But like you said, I think the only conference game that they would show up for is Jacksonville State.
Probably.
At some point, though, they're going to get to host one of the big, like, whatever schools from Texas, however many there are. I mean, look at App State. They're getting North Carolina. Look at Old Dominion. They got Virginia Tech. And you can't say Old Dominion was I mean, I know they were good in FCS, but they were not like App State was. So now for maybe a couple years they were, but they weren't that like legendary program.
Yeah.
So I think at some point now you're not going to get Texas A&M. You're not going to get Texas.
No, they're gonna get like they get UTEP as part of conference. They're gonna get like Houston. And they might fill up. They could get Rice. They could get UTSA. They hopefully will get Texas State because that'll bring back a rivalry, and that'll be a good Texas State system rivalry game between them. But I think Old Dominion. I could be wrong. I thought they had to do a 2-1 home and home with Virginia Tech to get that.
I think they did.
Yeah.
But still, I mean,
they still got it. It's
right. Sam Houston would play 2 games at Houston to get Houston to come to power.
You know what? TDECU. I think it's something. Okay, some credit union stadium. Man, that thing would be filled though because Sam Houston fans don't know how to go past Beltway 8 on the north side of Houston to go to Huntsville. So they'd be sorry. I lied. Something living in Woodlands. So Grand Parkway 99. They can't get past Grand Parkway, but but they'll definitely go down to Third Ward and go watch UH because it's nice and convenient for them.
You're right. Let's see. Last game that we did. I saved this one for last, so we could talk about the repercussions. But UCA knocked off North Alabama 64-29 on the Stripes. UCA racked up 733 yards of offense, including 458 on the ground. Only had to throw for like 279, but he was averaging, I think we averaged 11.5 yards per completion. Yeah, yards per completion. And then yards per completion. I don't know. It might have been yards. No, it was yards per attempt. It was attempt. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. 11.1 yards per attempt and then 11.1 yards per rush.
Yeah.
So it was a rain game. It rained pretty much the whole game. Our defensive coaches came out of the press box with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they scored a couple garage time touchdowns on us. But that game was a blowout, and I'm not so much concerned with how the game went as the fact that North Alabama pulled the cord on Chris Willis about an hour ago. It broke that they had fired him. And I know there are some very happy North Alabama fans out there. I talked to one of them this morning about just the North Alabama program, but they're happy. But I hate it for Chris Willis because I think he's a good football coach. But when I was talking to Brandon Haddock this morning, he was like, he's a good football coach, but he's not a good head coach. And they talked about some discipline issues, which definitely came to the forefront yesterday, not in the form of penalties, but you guys know I'm not one to like knock on a program. Like I'm not going to be like, wow, that was the least classy program I've ever seen, but that was like pretty close to it. They knocked the dude out and talked crap about it. Which, knockouts happen in football. That's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hit and lay on the ground, but then they're talking crap over him. Like as he's laying there.
That sounds like some JSU crap from a couple years ago when we had Gross.
So I see where the frustration came from, if that's what they were frustrated about. But I don't know if they were just waiting on them to not be close because they've lost so many close games this year. I don't know if they were waiting on a blowout to be like, all right, well, that's it. Because there's only 3 games left. Like they could have left the team. And maybe he said, hey, if y'all are going to fire me now. But to only have 3 games left and pull the cord, that's pretty ballsy in my opinion. So
yeah, that really surprised me that they went ahead and did it now. Like, wait, I mean, you could wait till the end of the year, but unrelated to that, because I know we're going to talk about probably who we think should take over the helm there. But a couple of shout outs. One, Darius Hale is an absolute beast. And I hate to rub this in, but man, that game might have cemented him going to FBS next year.
He is possibly hurt.
Oh no, that's not good then.
He pulled up like a hammy, I think, on the run that broke the single game rushing record at UCA.
Oh no.
So hopefully he's all right. He was back out walking, so I'm hoping he's all right. So,
and then secondly, shout out to Will McElvain. I think he broke 2,000 yards passing this season.
He did.
Yeah.
Yep, 2,000.
And like, I will openly admit when I'm wrong on things. And in text this year, I said to Will that I didn't think McElvain would be a good addition to UCA because of how he acted at UNI and sort of the pedantic sort of way that he left that program. But I was wrong. I can admit when I was wrong, and I was wrong. So Will McElvain, I doubt you listen to this, but in the event you do, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
I'm sure he appreciates that sincere apology.
Anyways,
man.
keep up the good work, Will. McElvain.
He had a throw last night that blew my mind. So it was a scramble drill kind of, and he throws it across his body. He's rolling to his right, and he threw it across his body to his left, and hit Gerard Barnes who was just kind of drifting back across the field. But the angle of throwing at, like, it was dang near over his shoulder, and it went for a touchdown. So that guy can make some things happen. He rushed for a touchdown too. Playing well. If we gave out helmet stickers, I'd give him one. So good for Will. I'd give Darius Hale one too, though, because that was an impressive performance. Hope he's all right though.
Same.
But North Alabama, Chris Willis, he's gone. Who should his replacement be? And I think we've all got a name, and I don't think anybody's got the same name, even though I think we all have different answers. So, Brendan, you go first because you're from that area. Who do you think is who should be first in line?
Well, ever since KSU moved up, there's been talks of Bohannon not wanting to coach FBS. I think he could be a candidate. I don't think he will be the next coach, but I think he's going to be a candidate for that UNA job. UNA would make a huge mistake by hiring him, in my opinion, but
yeah, that, I hadn't really thought about that, but I think he could. Hopefully, Kennesaw sticks it out with him, but if they don't, he could be on the market. I hadn't really thought about that. Rev, what do you think?
All right, so I'm looking in the vein of, hey, let's go look in the area where we used to play in D2 and find a coach. And for me, it's David Dean from West Georgia. He has done pretty well with West Georgia. He's 38-16 as a head coach there. He is a Georgia native. He played at Georgia Tech. He's coached at Valdosta as a wide receivers coach. He's coached at multiple times with West Georgia, moving up the ranks, and then he went back to Valdosta. He was the offensive coordinator for Georgia Southern for a bit, and then he went back to the head coaching job, or he got the head coaching job at West Georgia in 2017. And they have really performed over the past 5 years with him at the helm. I think their second year, I don't think they won the Natty's second year, but they went pretty far in the playoffs. So that would be my pick. I think you go to pull a D2 guy up who knows the area, who can recruit well. And that would be my choice. That would be David Dean.
So I think that would be a good, especially having some connections to the D2, like the area. He could recruit there. I'm going to go with Mark Hudspeth. He's been there before. He was there from 2002, 2008. He had some big time success there, playoff wise. Obviously his last stop was at Austin Peay. So it's not like you're gonna have to pull him from a bigger school. He's not coaching right now, as far as I know. After him and Austin Peay parted ways, I believe he is out of coaching right now. So if he wants to get back into it, somewhere where you've got some history, I don't think he's a long-term fix because I think he would, bolt whenever he had the opportunity. But that's some serious connections too. So I think that's who you're calling up first, in my opinion, because the dude knows how to win. Love him or hate him, he knows how to win. So that's who would be my short list, number one. But I didn't do much else. I didn't do much thinking on that past Marquez Smith. So I don't know who you go after otherwise. I don't know if maybe they have a coordinator on staff that everybody likes or not. Another offense puts up pretty good numbers. So, but I also don't know if you want to promote from within when you have a 1-7 football team.
I'm actually going to throw another name out there. I don't know if UNA can afford him, but Casey Keeler has explicitly said he does not want to coach FBS.
What is old Casey Keeler's? Did we look at his salary?
He doesn't have a contract right now.
Right. His base salary.
Isn't it it's more than that. Thought it was
$391.
Yeah.
I will say this. If he would take a pay cut to stay at the FCS level, I don't know how much Chris Willis was making, but I did see somebody from North Alabama say that they had heard from people at the university that they were willing to shell out $300,000 as a base salary for a coach, and which that makes you competitive.
Yeah, you're gonna have to if you want to be competitive at D1. You're gonna have to shell out that much.
And so, in my opinion, maybe Casey Keeler says, "Hey, I'll take a pay cut with the understanding that, at some point you pay me more, or I get to, go somewhere else." I don't think he would want to stay at North Alabama forever, but maybe you go after him. I think that's the big reach. I don't know if you get him, but you could definitely go after him.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm ready for this because it is time for part 2 of Brandon Bracketology. And I should have saved the reaction that Rev had to your last Bracketology because it was priceless. And put it up here, but we have no idea what it's going to be. Like we
didn't get it this time.
Yeah. And so this is going to be pure reaction, and I promise I will be candid. So
before he goes,
what's up?
Can we just for everybody listening, the opinions of Brandon Owens did not reflect Will Seiler, Dustin Helton, the rest of the FCS Fans Nation.
Yeah, this is all Skip Bayless, Brandon Skip Owens. So, all right, let's do it the same way we did it last time. We'll run through the seeds, and you can go. You can just read them off as we go. So, who is your overall number one? And wait, this is how it ends. If it was ending today,
correct.
This is not prediction. This is if it
ended today. All right,
cool.
So my overall number one seed is South Dakota State.
Finally,
Thank God.
Jesus Christ.
They have. I mean, you can't. They're undefeated against the FCS. They have 4 ranked wins. I mean, that resume does not even compare to anybody else in the FCS.
I am very much in agreement that South Dakota State is the overall number one seed right now,
especially after they beat North Dakota State.
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Way to finally catch up with the rest of America. But go on. Let's hear number 2.
All right. So my number 2 is Sacramento State.
Love it.
Yeah, that's
who my 2 would be.
That their resume, they have an FBS win and they have 2 ranked wins on their resume, beating Idaho this past week and beating Montana the week before.
Yeah. I personally was kind of like, I don't say iffy, that's the wrong, but I would say that Sacramento State beating Idaho kind of cemented that in for me. If they went out the rest of the year, easily number 2.
I think they're a bona fide title contender.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, yeah.
And the year that they were the 4 seed and Austin Peay went up there and beat them by 30.
Yeah.
Some people thought they were, but it's hard to see Sac State and be like, oh yeah, they're going to.
The difference between that year and this year is that they didn't play anybody that year that got a 4 seed. They avoided most of the tough parts of the Big Sky and still got that seed. And I remember I was on a Twitter space with Josh Criswell, who ran Bet the FCS podcast until he got a much awesome job with the Houston Chronicle. That show has kind of gone on pause, but I digress. Anyway, I was on there and I said, this is the seed that I think will lose their first game in the playoffs because they're overinflated. And people disagreed with me. And then I was like, told you so when it got done. Like,
oh, especially after I saw the matchup that was playing into them, I was like, Austin Peay's going straight to the quarters.
Yeah.
All right. Who is your overall number 3?
Montana State.
I mean, okay.
Okay.
Let's see. They're undefeated against the FCS and have 2 ranked wins.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue against it.
Yeah.
I can probably argue for something.
But for our listeners, there's going to be some people that disagree, and I'm backing everything up.
Yeah. I still think that if they played Weber State again, they wouldn't.
If the Weber State snapper hadn't got the yip. I hate to say it, like from snapper to snapper, I feel for you, and like I totally understand what it's like to get the yips. But like if he doesn't get the yips, they probably win that football game.
Oh yeah.
Because 4 safeties that they weren't anybody else's fault. I mean, they were completely bad snaps. They could win that game with clean punts.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, because not only is that 8 points, and it's also 4 lost possessions because now you get 2 points and then still have to kick the ball away. So that sucks for them. But anyway, go ahead.
My number 4 seed is Weber State.
See, I could flip 3 and 4, but I can also see why
I debated where to put those 2.
No, I think at the moment you have to keep it the way it is. So
yeah.
What sucks is that like that's going to shake out, and one of those 3 Big Sky teams will not be a top 4, obviously, because they're going to play each other out.
Yeah, I would. I mean, as it's remember he said as it stands right now.
Right,
So
as it stands today, that's how I would have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with Weber State's resume, they have that FBS win, and I was going to put them the 3 because of that FBS win. But then the head-to-head, I was like, I can't do that. I can't do it because Montana State beat them head-to-head.
Yeah.
So my number 5 seed, and this is probably where the first discrepancy will come from, is Incarnate Word.
I can handle it. I mean,
not from other people.
I disagree with it.
Both of y'all disagree?
I disagree with it. With it.
I can dig it. Now, we'll see. But I think it's unfortunate that they lost a game. But at the same time, you have to look at how dominant they've been everywhere else. And
one FBS win, one ranked win.
They passed the eye test, and they lost on a fluke last play.
Right.
On the road to a team that has been good. I mean, it's not like so I can't argue. I could argue against it, but I'm not.
They lost to a team who lost to Texas A&M Commerce, and I know people are like Texas A&M Commerce is going to be great, which they are. They're probably going to be the top team in the Southland in the next few years, but they're still transitioning in. They're still technically a D2 team with D2 players. You lost to a D2 school, so Incarnate Word lost to teams that. Honestly, my difference with you is at the moment, if the season ended now, I would have Holy Cross at 5th.
That's
I would.
Fair.
Like that would
that is also fair.
That would be my 5th seed. I don't think Incarnate Word's deserving of a 5 seed. I do like the doctor, Lindsey Scott Jr. Big fan of him, but I think their loss to Southeastern hurts because of who Southeastern lost to. Yes, I get that they completely obliterated SIU, but SIU's starting to kind of fade a little bit in terms of how they're doing, so that yes, they obliterated them, but that win doesn't necessarily stand out as high. So I don't think I would have them as a 5. I could see them as a seed, but this is where I disagree with you. I don't think they're a 5.
Mm-hmm. My number 6, I'm going to piss off a fan base. North Dakota State is my 6. And only because they are seeded only because of name recognition. Their resume sucks. They have 1 FBS loss and 0 ranked wins.
That's true, but I think some people look at it and don't realize that like they haven't really beaten anybody that you would call a signature win. They, I hate to say they struggled with Illinois State yesterday, but they didn't like just wipe the floor with them.
They haven't
Like they
been
should have.
the dominating team that you've seen. But the thing with North Dakota State is, even in years like this where they've struggled, they get hot in December. They get it together.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing about them being a 6 seed, and I think it's a great placement because it means they avoid Brookings, pretty much. They're going to be on the wrong side of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing because the NCAA is going to somehow want a marker part 2 in Frisco. Like that would be one of the best national championship games that they probably would have in recent memory in terms of fan base, in terms of, and so that sets it up if North Dakota State can do it. I totally agree with I think they'll get a seed because of who they are and because of the conference they play in. But yeah, if you look at their resume, I remember Jamie Williams did a blind resume thing, and their resume came out. I think they were average like 9th or 10th ranked with their resume out of the 12 teams he had. So no, I think you had that right. You know what? And if North Dakota State fans listen to this and they're mad, you know what? Kick rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Kick rocks.
So I will go ahead and say, once I read my 8 seed later on, both of those can be switched. Same with my number 7 with a team that's not seeded. My 7 seed right now is Chattanooga, even though they lost to Furman.
I don't think they can get a seed.
I don't think they get a seed with that loss. I think that's
so. With that being said, the only other team I could see them getting switched out for is William and Mary.
Okay.
William and Mary's resume is they're 7-1, 1 FBS win, 1 ranked win, and their strength of schedule is in the top 55.
Their loss was to, gosh, I'm trying to think who it was now. Their loss wasn't a bad loss, if I remember correctly. Like their loss,
it was Delaware.
It was Delaware. Oh well, I mean Delaware kind of got boat race this weekend, but still, Delaware. I mean, that's a ranked team. That's not a bad loss there. Mm-hmm. So I if they went out, I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them as a 7 or 8 if they went out.
And then my 8 seed is Holy Cross.
I think you put them in 5. I think if Holy Cross wins out, they're going to get the benefit of a 5 seed, but then I think they're going to get absolutely obliterated second round. To be honest with you, I think, like I mean, yeah. I get that
whether they play Sac State or South Dakota State,
like they may not even make it that far. To be honest with you, if the geography matches up, because if they get a team like Elon, or if they get a team,
William and Mary, Delaware.
Well, yeah, if they get a CAA team, I think a CAA team is going to take them to the woodshed. Like I get that they beat Buffalo, that's a great FBS win for a team like Holy Cross. But look at the game against Fordham, man. Like that was just a slugfest between those two, and I don't know if Holy Cross has the legs to make a deep playoff run. But here's the other thing that sucks too is I don't think Fordham would get an at-large. I think somehow the committee would look at them and lehigh them, as we call it, where they have such a great year, but because of the conference they play in, they'll be like, no, it's not enough. You have to be AQ or nothing, which sucks for Fordham.
Give me seeded Holy Cross in the second round against unseeded North Dakota State.
in Worcester.
Yes.
Massachusetts.
Yes. And oh my God, I would love that. Imagine the North Dakota State admin. They're like, so we have to plan a trip for the second round, and we have to go to where are we going?
Wait, we're not in the Fargo Dome?
What are we doing?
We got it.
But that crowd for Holy Cross will turn out for a game against North Dakota State.
The North Dakota State crowd would travel.
There. Yeah. We got to play outdoors in December?
Yeah, exactly.
In snow and cold?
And it's not in Frisco?
It's not in Frisco?
That would be impeccable.
There's other states in December besides North Dakota?
Yeah. Okay, so Brandon, you had Chattanooga at 7.
Correct.
Where do you have Samford?
AQ.
But not seeded.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think Samford is in line for the SoCon AQ, I think, which they've still got to play Chattanooga and Mercer.
If Samford wins out, they'll be your 7 or 8 seed.
I think they'll be higher than that because they would be 10-1 with Chattanooga and Mercer probably both obviously going to be ranked wins. They've still got a ranked win over
And
Kennesaw
Furman.
State. That not a then ranked win.
No, but I mean, the committee will then look at that win and be like, "Oh, Furman is now ranked. It's not a ranked win, but Furman is actually a good team who will probably get into the playoffs."
People are going to forget their win against Kennesaw counts as a win against the number 8 team in the country. That whether that's
was
right
Kennesaw
or
ranked in the top 10?
It was the first week of the year, so they were number 8 in the country.
Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that.
Yep. That's true.
So Samford, in my opinion, has the strongest resume for a seed now and potential for the strongest resume for a seed out of the SoCon. If they beat Chattanooga and Mercer in weeks 11 and 12, they will be they could end up being a 5 seed because that's a tough schedule.
That's right down the road. I may have to take a trip to Birmingham and go to some games.
Yeah, they're looking good. They play Mercer at home, VMI at home, and then they get Chatty on the road.
Oh, what if North Dakota State has to travel to Samford?
The stadium wouldn't be big enough for their traveling fans.
Yeah.
No, but you best bet your butt I'm gonna be at that game.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to your first round games, and you take us through which part of the bracket you're in and who's playing.
Okay, so in South Dakota State portion, I have the NEC AQ. NEC, yes? Question mark. Yes, NEC AQ St. Francis against Richmond.
Okay,
yeah,
I can fight that one.
In the Holy Cross portion, I have the CAA AQ New Hampshire versus Delaware. They don't play each other.
They don't play each other. I was running through the schedule in my head. I was like, they don't play each other, so they would.
that'd be fun.
You don't think that they would even do regionalization with that and do St. Francis versus New Hampshire as a first round game because that's a closer.
Because Delaware and Richmond play each other, and I think Richmond and New Hampshire play each other.
That's true. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Thinking with that noggin there, old Brandon.
All right. In the Weber State bracket, for a chance to play Weber State, I have Idaho versus SEMO.
That would be fun.
That would be a fun game.
Who's the home team? Is it SEMO?
Idaho.
Oh.
SEMO's not going to be able to host it. SEMO's not going to host. They've got
SEMO puts they did big time.
Their stadium seats 3,000 this year.
Oh, that is true.
Wait, are they expanding?
They're renovating it. Yeah.
Well, they condemned the home side, and so they're having to rebuild it, but they can't. I mean, it was like last year that it happened, and so they've only got the away side, which seats about 3,500, 3,000.
And you know, Idaho, with it being their first playoff appearance since they've dropped back to FCS, they're going to pay hellacious money to do it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
and it's the freaking Kibbe Dome,
and it's the beer can. It is a sideways beer can.
We need playoff games in the Kibbe Dome. Hey, Chris Heyman has to watch this episode because the 1.5 episode suspension is over.
That's right.
And just let it be known, Chris, I love the Kibbe Dome, and I think there needs to be playoff games there.
And as much as I talk trash about the Quonset Hut, I absolutely love it too. I think it's a fun stadium. So,
all right, in Incarnate Words portion, I have William and Mary versus Furman.
All right.
In the Montana State portion of the bracket, I have UT Martin, which is the OVC AQ, versus the Pioneer AQ Butler.
Wow, UT Martin would love to get Butler in the first round because I think UT Martin could get beat in a lot of first round games because I think SEMO is the better of the two OVC teams, and
but I think the OVC is going to give the AQ to UT Martin so that way they get two teams into the playoffs.
Are they doing a coin flip? Is that what they said they were doing? I want to say they said they were doing a coin flip.
Knowing Beth DeBlanche, she'll just be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I flipped the coin in my office and it landed for UT Martin. That's basically what she's going to do.
That's fair.
In NDSU's portion of the bracket, I have Elon versus Mercer.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
In the Sac State portion of the bracket, I have Montana versus Abilene Christian.
I hope that's in Abilene.
Oh, me too. I hope so, but that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And Montana would probably, because it is at Walgreens, would probably boat race Abilene Christian, which sucks.
And Abilene, as you can probably guess, Abilene is the WACSUN.
Yeah, rub it in. We get it. No, actually, I mean I think that's what's going to happen. I think if SFA or Abilene Christian were to win the WACSUN, they're going to have to play Montana or somebody like that, because I don't think South.
Unless Montana continues to lose.
Well, I mean, yeah, but look at it. They've lost two. It's not terrible losses.
But also look at their wins. Who are their wins over?
Well, that's exactly it. They'll get in because of the conference they play in. That's going to be the benefit to them. But but the thing is, I don't know. Go ahead and say your thing, because I don't think the South thing gets two teams in, and so I think that condemns them to having to go up to Montana.
I'll get to the conference breakdown in a minute. People are going to be like, "Whoa." In the Chattanooga portion, I have the Big South champion, North Carolina A&T, playing the SoCon AQ Samford.
Talk about a walk. I mean, not a walk in the park, but talk about Samford getting a game first round they could win.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
As far as the conference breakdown, I'll do this, and then I'll do the last four in, first four out, next four out. Big Sky has 5 teams. Big South has 1. CAA has 5 teams. Missouri Valley has 2. NEC 1. OVC 2. Pioneer 1. Patriot 1. SoCon has 4 teams in. Southland has 1, and WACSUN has 1.
How many did you say the Valley had? 2.
I don't think the SoCon gets 4. I think that'll be replaced by a Valley team, and they might get 3.
I think the SoCon only gets 3, but I don't know. Like it's almost.
You have to look at who. Well, I was about to say you have to look at who the teams are behind the Dakotas. You have North Dakota, who doesn't have that good of a resume. Youngstown State, Illinois State, who both don't have very good resumes. Southern Illinois, maybe, but that's your only hope to get a third team in.
Well, Southern Illinois has got the win over Northwestern, which helps. But then technically, if Abilene Christian were to make it, then North Dakota has a win over a playoff team.
That's true, but it's also an AQ, and they look at that differently.
Yeah, it's true.
If you beat St. Francis, and you're like, "Hey, I've got a win over a playoff team," and people are like, "Okay, it's St. Francis." So,
yeah.
Not to take anything away from the Red Flash. Is that what they are?
Yes.
Nice.
You know where they are? Do you know their location?
I mean, I know they're a state.
They're in Pennsylvania.
They're in Loretto, Pennsylvania.
I knew they were in Pennsylvania.
So my last 4 in order: SEMO, Richmond, Furman, and Montana.
SEMO, Richmond, Furman, Montana.
First 4 out.
I think Furman might be that one SoCon team that doesn't make it.
Yeah, I could. That's kind of my feeling too.
Even a win over a playoff Chattanooga.
Yeah, because I don't know, because Chattanooga,
because it was at Chattanooga. That win was at Chattanooga.
Yeah, and if Samford wins out, that's a win over Mercer and a win over Chattanooga. So I don't know. That could get messy. In which then they're just like, you know what? You all get bids.
Yeah. First 4 out in order: Eastern Kentucky, Rhode Island, Southeastern Louisiana, and Austin Peay.
Poor Rhode Island. Like, I feel bad for Rhode Island. They're so promising. You think it's going to be their year, and then they have losses like this week. Just poor Rhode Island, poor Rhodey.
And then the next 4 out in order: Fordham, North Dakota, Villanova, Illinois State.
Okay.
I
mean, I can't argue against much of this, because as it stands, I think this is a much more logical bracket than the first one.
Yeah, I don't know what drugs you were on when you did the first one, but
Oh man,
pretty sure it's not legal in Alabama, whatever you were on for that one. But
It's not.
oh dear God, you just incriminated yourself on recorded video.
Brandon, I was gonna make a joke, Brandon. I don't want to incriminate you for.
I did spend like 2 hours at work putting this together, and I used everything, especially for the at-larges, because that was going to be the hard part.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's pretty good.
I think it's good too.
I think it's impressive that you did it, because when I sit down to like think about that, I'm like, I get so overwhelmed, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So props to you.
Yep.
And if you're thinking about slandering Brandon's bracket, don't do it, because you didn't put one out, unless you did.
Right.
And then if you did,
I gotta make a thing and then post it like I did last time.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna drop a challenge. If you're listening to this and you think your bracket's better, put it out on Twitter.
Exactly.
We will put his bracket up against your bracket, and we will let the FCS Fans Nation vote. And
do it.
We might have to block some fan bases because they have no rationale whenever it comes to anything.
Exactly.
But don't be, put your finger in your mouth. You know what? I couldn't have done what he did. I voiced my disagreement, but I also haven't sat down and thought who my bracket would be. So if you're gonna gripe about it, gripe, but man up. Put yours up.
I will also say this. There's one more WACSUN team that is like on the verge of entering the conversation. So we'll see.
Don't say it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. We know who it is. Don't do it.
Please don't.
I won't jinx anything.
Don't do it. We can talk about them during the game of the week.
You're lucky. I almost did something profane. But I did. Oh, it almost got on the camera. Oh God, that was some real self-control there.
That's why you
look at you.
Exactly,
everybody.
He's doing this. He's doing the.
That's exactly. It looks the exact same. You can't tell.
That's funny. Well, hey, that was a good segue into this week, which is week 10. Hard to believe that we're down to
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks left.
It's so close. You can taste it.
We need to get with our buddies at B team.
Yep, you got to plan our.
We got to plan, because there's going to be 2 that day.
Yeah.
We should do a middle segment sometime called "Who is your favorite B team member?" Because I feel like there's some characters there, and
I'll answer that right now. All of them, but Brendan and I were hotel buddies last year in Frisco, and after the national championship, I knew he was really, really sad, really disappointed, as he had to watch North Dakota State win another one. So he went back to take a nap, but I decided I wanted to go drinking, so I ran into the room and I frog splashed him while he was asleep.
Oh my gosh. You know how angry I would be if I was the one sleeping and you came in and did that to me?
He got all 285 pounds of the Rev on top of him, just frog splash.
Should have videoed it.
Oh, I believe his lovely wife Ariel is coming this year too, which will be fun. But yeah, I would say, I mean, they're all great. They're all characters. That's actually, not gonna lie, my favorite one to watch, because they do a great job breaking down the games, but they're also really damn funny about it.
They are funny, and it's a live broadcast, and it's so good.
We need to do a live broadcast one week and just let the comments flow, because I think it would be really damn amusing.
I'm just gonna heckle them this week.
I'm gonna miss this week.
Why not do that before the last week of the regular season?
Ooh, that might be fun. That'll be the day after SFA UCA.
We already know what the game of the week is for that week.
Yeah, it's pretty much locked up. So I think let's do it. That'd be fun.
It'll be cool.
Yep. All right, let's go. Let's get this going.
Week 10, Kennesaw State, UT Martin, Austin Peay, North Alabama, Abilene Christian, Tarleton, and Southern Utah, and Utah Tech. And then there is a game in Richmond, Kentucky, and it is UCA and Eastern Kentucky. And so we can roll through some picks here. Kennesaw State, UT Martin, Brandon's OVC auto bid, and Kennesaw, who is back to 4-4, coming off the win against Chuck South. I'll let you guys go first. Whoever wants to.
Here's the thing. If Tennessee Martin loses this game, that's going to completely that's going to have playoff implications, big playoff implications. I'm still not sold on Kennesaw State and just them being consistent. So I'm going to take the Skyhawks.
Go ahead, Will.
That game being in Martin, I don't know that it has a big thing to do with it. Martin's not the biggest atmosphere in FCS football, but it's still travel, and it's not super short. So I'm gonna go with Martin. I don't know. I think they've got a well coached team. Are you about to pick Kennesaw? Well, okay, go ahead. I went with UT Martin. So.
I'm going the same way, but Kennesaw has yet to win a road game this year. UT Martin is undefeated at home. Give me the Skyhawks big.
That sounded like a Pat McAfee thing.
It kind of did. Pretty well.
Like he pulls out some stat that's like perfect, and that's Skip Bayless, Pat McAfee, whatever. If you go jump in a river outside your apartment, then
it will be cold, and I don't want to catch hypothermia. Whatever that disease is. Yeah, that thing.
All right, so we're all in agreement. So Austin Peay in North Alabama. Not sure who the interim guy will be for North Alabama. I don't think they announced it. I couldn't find an official announcement. I just found the official word from Coach Willis that the UNA football Twitter posted. So I don't know who the interim guy will be, but Austin Peay coming off, they're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. So I think, which it's hard to say if they're alive or not, because it's going to be hard for them to get the AQ, but an at-large might be out of the question. But you're still playing for what hope you have. So I'm going to go with Austin Peay.
I think you have to go with Austin Peay just because North Alabama, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know who's coaching. You don't know. I mean, it's very hard to pick the Lions. So give me the Govs this one.
Yeah, for now, until we know who the interim coach is, I'm going to go with the safe pick and pick Austin Peay.
Quite honestly, I don't know if it matters who the interim guy is. But at the same time, if they had a coach in place, I think I would be like, you know what? They might play for that guy, and maybe he gets them their first win. But just knowing that they don't have one yet, I don't know. It's something about not having a coach in place that makes me go, yeah, you haven't won a Division I game yet this year, and you're probably not going to start. That's my thought. Abilene Christian and Tarleton, they're in Stephenville. Maybe they'll have 20,000 people there again.
They might. This is a good form of rivalry. So, but I gotta take Abilene Christian. Just with the way they've been playing, the way they played against North Dakota. Yes, I know the final score is closer than the stats indicated, but I still got to take Abilene Christian, I think.
I'm actually taking the Texans. The Texans are 3-1 at home. Abilene is 1-3 on the road. I am taking Tarleton State. And you have to think, Abilene Christian is not Sam Houston State. So I think this is a much more winnable game for Tarleton. Give me the Texans.
Abilene Christian has proven to me over the course of the year that they are a little more than just the Toyota Corolla this year. Maybe they're like the Nissan Maxima. They've got they have a little bit of style behind them too. We're not just dependable; we're professional. So I'm gonna go with the Wildcats. I just don't see them losing this one. Oh, I guess that's my cue to go to the next one. I was waiting on somebody else to read the next game. My bad there. Southern Utah and Utah Tech. Another in-state Utah game. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I almost wanted to put this as game of the week just because it's fun. It's a fun game between two teams that are fun to watch, that are up and coming. Southern Utah. No, because I wanted to torture you and I wanted to keep my lead. So that's why I picked the other one. Southern Utah got Utah Tech the first round. I don't think it happens this time. Give me the Trailblazers coming off the win in Nacogdoches. They're gonna be feeling good. So you give me the Blazers.
Brandon?
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way. I think that win over Stephen F. Austin, which isn't a bad team by any means. So I think getting a good win over Stephen F. Austin is going to provide the momentum to get their revenge over Southern Utah from the beginning of the season.
I'm going to disagree here. I think Southern Utah goes into St. George and gets a win because I think as the Southern Utah leadership, you've got to be preaching to your guys this week that, hey, this is an in-state game, and you don't want to be the longtime Division I program that gets beat by little brother, if you want to call them that. That'd be embarrassing. And so I think they play for a little more this week, and Thunderbirds get it done. All right, last game. Central Arkansas making the trip to Richmond, Kentucky to play Eastern Kentucky, who is coming off a big win against SEMO. UCA coming off the win over North Alabama. And this is going to be a fun one. Could decide the conference title this week. If UCA wins, they will solidify the ASUN title. Because the next game for UCA is Jacksonville State.
Mm-hmm.
The next conference game.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this is a lot on the line in Richmond this week. So what do you guys think?
Wait for Brandon.
Oh, okay. I think, I don't know. Richmond's a tough place to play. Especially with their crowd getting very into ASUN football this year.
You want to hear a fun story about Richmond while you think about who you're going to pick?
Okay. I feel like
I'm giving you some time to pick, but it really is a fun story.
Okay.
So last time we played there was in 2020, and let's see. We went up there in, I guess it was October, and my interview with University of Arkansas for medical sciences for med school was the same day. Like they're all on Saturdays, and we had a game every interview date. And so I picked that date because it was actually a bye week originally, and then Arkansas State game got moved, and so they moved Eastern Kentucky back, and so I had to interview on Zoom in the hotel room that was attached to Rupp Arena in Lexington. And I told Coach Brown that week, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be done by the time the bus leaves. And he was like, okay, so what do we need to do? And I was like, well, I mean, my parents are going to be there. And he was like, okay. I was like, they're totally fine with driving me from Lexington. They can stay at the same hotel, drive me from Lexington to Richmond if you'll just tell me where the player entrance is. He was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I got to Richmond from Lexington. So I'm in a suit. I changed as soon as the interview was over, hopped in the car. So I missed pregame meals. So my parents ran me through McDonald's because I was starving. And so I got some chicken nuggets and some French fries and drove to Richmond. I got out of my mom's car and walked into the stadium. And so Coach Brown and Coach Howard, their phone was they had it on them so they could tell me where. But in the midst of it, they didn't answer the phone first call. And so finally Coach Howard answered and was like, come through this tunnel, whatnot. And so I got in there, and they're getting ready to go out for warm-ups. And I'm trying to change into my pads and everything. It was hilarious, but it's always a good memory thinking about my last time to play there. So good memories in Richmond, Kentucky.
I think because of how successful EKU has been at home, you know what? I'm going to go against my gut. I'm picking.
No, you can go with it. You can go with it.
I'm going with UCA.
Go with it. They're good at home, aren't they?
I'm going with
Brandon's
UCA.
locked in UCA. And you know what?
The Corso headgear pick.
Let's go, baby. UCA. UCA is going to get this one, and they're going to be in the playoff conversation because of them taking the ASUN title. Let's go Bears, roll damn Bears, claws up, whatever the hell you want to say. Let's go UCA.
We can end this like game day, and Corso just put his headgear on. The senile old man just put his headgear on. And we can end the show now. Man, this one's gonna be fun. Everything from here on a must win for UCA, but this one's huge. One of the biggest games I can remember in a long time, because I can't remember the last time we played a de facto conference title game other than like Sam Houston and maybe 2016, where both of us were undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's big, and if there's one thing I know, Coach Brown will have them ready. Walt Wells is a hell of a coach; he'll have them ready. I think you could see a slugfest. Bailey, if you're watching this, she doesn't watch this, so it's not a big deal. But I have to go to a wedding. She's in a wedding this weekend, and I'm going to be at the wedding. No fall weddings, first of all. If you're planning a wedding, don't put it in the fall. Just kidding. But I'm probably going to have my legs crossed with the phone like in my crotch watching the game during the ceremony, because the ceremony's at 5 and the game's at 4. And so hopefully I can just get it to halftime and then turn it off and watch it during the reception. But no fall weddings. So
yeah.
What's up?
What the hell's wrong with your friends, your people getting married during the fall? Like,
it's family. You do weird things for family.
No.
I have to agree. No fall weddings.
No fall weddings. No fall.
That is football season. That is football and marching band season. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Should I make a shirt and wear it to the ceremony that says no fall weddings?
No fall.
Oh man. But this one's gonna be fun. Parker McKinney is playing really well. I think he's the only ASUN quarterback that's thrown for more yards than McIlvain. So you're going to see some statistical leaders going at it. It's going to be big. I'm excited. I wish it was in Conway, though.
All right, so this is a sweep for everybody. We're all picking UCA to win, right? Because we have to say who it is for tallying.
I can pass on the point. I really don't care. I'm not picking it.
There's the problem is that if UCA wins, you're going to be like, I got a point right here. I know how you work. You are as shady as my wife's cat. I know what you.
What'd you say, Brandon?
I'm starting to second guess myself.
Dude, go for it. I don't care.
No.
Rev, you got to think. You can't make any points up if Rev gets it right and you get it right.
But if you get it wrong, it's over. It is over.
It's over anyway. Next, if you like,
me and Will are tied for last.
It's over.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Screw it. I'm changing my pick. I'm going EKU.
You wuss.
Something is just telling me to go EKU.
Nope. The way that UCA has played the past few weeks is the UCA I expected to see week 1.
I'll say this about UCA. I think we were very unfortunate that we were given a schedule that was front-loaded. Because when you put 45 new faces on a roster, it's really, you're not going to gel during fall camp. You're just not going to. You have to play somebody else to kind of hit your stride. And unfortunately, you play Missouri State, who, say what you want about them now. Jason Shelley is a baller, and we dominated their line, but we couldn't get any offense going. And that was the offense is like 8 new players in the starting rotation than it was last year. So it's hard to say that, like, I think we were very unfortunate that we had a tough schedule at the beginning because we had to play SEMO, Missouri State, Ole Miss. And then I think it's unfortunate that we looked past Lindenwood.
Yeah.
So what could have, again, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, what a Merry Christmas it would be.
I don't know. Maybe I should change my pick now. No, I'm still staying with the Bears.
You put the headgear on, man.
I'm not. I trust my gut. You know what? I lost tacos to Chris Hammond this past weekend, but you know what? I still went for Commerce getting the win. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna be wishy-washy and change my pick. Go Bears.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and gamble on this one.
You're gonna put some money down on it?
Yep.
Not that gamble.
I know.
Look, he's got to take a chance because it's basically this is basically going to end the pick'em contest. I'm going to win it if we were to tie, like choose the same team. It's done.
Do or die.
Yeah, this is do or die. No guts, no glory.
But I think
Watch
that's
me
it.
be the only one get this right.
And if you do, it's going to make next week's game of the week even more interesting. So
That's right. Well, hey, I think that about wraps us up for tonight. We this one was fun. Bracketology is always a good time. If you have a bracket of your own, or if you just really hate Brandon's bracket, put it out there. We'll have people vote on it who we think's better. Because I mean that would be some fun interaction. And if you're not gonna put up, then shut up. So that's how I see it. But Brandon, thanks for doing that. We appreciate it. It's always fun
Not a
to.
problem.
I wouldn't want to do it. But
Well, I think the next one that I'll do is the reveal before the selection show.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. Selection show is less than a month away. That is insane. It's like 3 weeks away. So
yeah, like we said, we got to get on planning all that.
Yeah, that's right. B team, if you listen to this,
and they do. Brendan
let's
does.
plan it out.
Chad does.
All right.
They mention it
guys,
at least twice a week every in the group chat.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we appreciate you listening in to this episode. If you made it all the way to the end, we love you. And if you think the episodes are too long, break it up. There's 5 days in a week. We're going to post it on Monday. Listen to 30 minutes tomorrow, 30 minutes Tuesday, 30 minutes Wednesday. It's not a big deal. You don't have to listen to all 90 minutes at one time. Let's use our noggins, people.
And there's 3 segments too.
Exactly. There's literally a beginning, a middle, and an end. So do with that what you will. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that button that Mr. Rev is pointing to right there. I think it's maybe a little bit further to his left, but who's counting? There you go. Yeah, that's the one. If you subscribe to this channel, you can make sure that we keep the content coming. And man, you can't really see the background, but it was a bunch of sad SFA fans after Utah Tech had scored. It was a funny picture because the look on all the SFA fans' faces is kind of like the girl that's sitting below me to my right, right there. And then the guy for Utah Tech's pumped up. So,
yep.
We appreciate you listening. Make sure you subscribe, join the Facebook group, follow on Twitter. You can follow us. Those are our Twitter handles. They'll also be in the description. We'd love to talk to you on Twitter. So make sure you follow us there. And we will be back next week to hopefully recap a good week of WACSUN football. So, gentlemen, you guys have a great week, and all the listeners do as well. Good night.